Last December, President Donald Trump signed into law sweeping changes to America's retirement system. The Secure Act, which stands for Setting Every Community Up for Retirement Enhancement, puts into place a number of provisions that could impact the way you save and plan for your retirement. Here with us today to talk about these changes is Ed Slott, founder of IRAhelp.com. Ed, thanks so much for being here with us today.
Great to be here with all this new information.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to get into some of the specifics here in a moment, but can you just broadly paint a picture for us about what the Secure Act does and what exactly it's changing?
Well, it's a lot of trimming around the edges. It isn't as big a deal as Congress made it. You know, Congress, they're crowing about it like they won American Idol or something. A lot of the changes around the edges, the biggest changes actually affect people negatively. So here's a little tip for you, and this has always been true. Whenever Congress names a tax law like they did with the Secure Act, you can always bet it does exactly the opposite.
Well, no, and you talked about one thing that is changing are these inherited IRAs or stretch IRAs. Can you explain what's happening with those accounts?
Yeah, the big negative, if there was one, not from Congress's point of view, remember, this is a positive for them. All the things in the Secure Act had to be paid for. So what does Congress do when they have to pay for something? They do what they always do. They raid people's retirement accounts because most of that money hasn't been taxed yet. That's why it's called tax deferred, not tax free like your 401ks and IRAs. And for years, people made plans based on the rules that applied for decades. Of this stretch IRA is the provision you're talking about. That was eliminated. What that was, first of all, there's no such thing as a stretch IRA. I used to have people ask me, clients, they'd said, I went to the bank, I asked for a stretch IRA. They don't have them. It was not a product, it was a process. It's not mentioned in the tax code anywhere. It was the ability for a beneficiary when they inherited using the tax rules to extend distributions out over their lifetime. Meaning that, say, a grandchild could stretch or extend distributions, deferring the tax for a long period of time for maybe 30, 40, 50, 60 years. That was a good deal, and many people made their plans for decades, like I said, long-term plans, relying on all of that. Well, now, in one fell swoop, almost under the cover of night, in late December, Congress eliminated that for most beneficiaries, but not all, and replaced it with what's being called the 10-year rule, which means no more 40, 50, 60 years. Congress wants an end date. They want their money back. They want to accelerate the taxes paid by beneficiaries when they inherit. And under the 10-year rule, most non-spouse beneficiaries will have to empty their inherited account by the end of the 10th year after death. So that could bunch a lot of the income into 10 years, and the beneficiaries themselves may be in their high peak earnings years, and they could get hit with an accelerated tax. See, this is another benefit now of doing a Roth IRA if you're worried about your beneficiaries getting socked with taxes in 10 years. If you convert now, they'll still have to take it out in 10 years, but at least if they inherit a Roth, it will all be tax-free. And they could actually wait till the end of the 10th year to take it out and have all that tax-free buildup.
Right, and those are some great strategies. And as you were saying, this legislation, it kind of pulls the rug out for some people.
Yeah.
But is there any upside to this? Because it seems like maybe smaller businesses might have some more options under this new law.
Oh, yeah. No, there were some things, but I guess it was when I'm saying those were not big things. They were trimming around the edges. Yes, there's more incentives for small businesses to have plans, but we've had lots of things like this before. And, I found through experience, it's not enough of an incentive. It might help some people, but it's not going to have a small business owner say, okay, now because I get a credit, I'm going to start a retirement plan for my employees. Either they want to or they don't, but there are more incentives there. Another good provision, Congress pushed the RMD age back to 72. So here's what I mean when I said up front that Congress was, beating their chest about what a great job they did. So look at this. They moved the RMD age from 70 and a half all the way up to 72.
Well, what does that do
You're
for
talking
people?
about a year and a half. What is that? It's something. So it'll lower RMDs for some people. But remember, 80% of the people need to take it earlier and more anyway. But that's what I mean about trimming around the edges. The best part of that whole thing is finally getting rid of that half year. That 70 and a half age confused retirees for decades. People were always questioning, am I 70? Am I 71? When am I 70 and a half? Which age do I look at, 70 or 71? Which table? How much do I take out? All of that is gone. So good riddance. Probably the single best part of the whole Secure Act. As I said, Congress did this quickly. It's in effect now. If anybody dies in 2020, they must review and probably revise or maybe even scrap their estate plan and their existing trust and get it redone so it's in accordance with the Secure Act, because most trusts will have to pay out also by to the 10-year rule, and that's not how a lot of them would set up, and there could be big money at stake there. That's who leads IRAs to trust, people with multi-million-dollar IRAs. So for those people, there's a real impact, and they should update their estate planning documents and trusts and forms and the whole plan ASAP.